Hey guys, it's Tahan, and today I'm going to teach you how to side against Fish OTK. There are three main types of cards that you can side in against Fish. There are cards that can act as deterrence, there are cards that can act as dysfunction, and then there are cards that can cause destruction. So we have deterrent, dysfunction, and destruction, and I'm going to start out with deterrence. There are two main ones that you want to consider siding in. The first one is a card that's not very seen. We haven't seen this card since Teledev format, but it's awesome. This card, Threatening Roar. If you side this against Fish, this card most likely almost all the time is going to cost them game. They go for True Nade, you flip your set Roar, they have no True Nade for the next turn, you have if you have other back rows you're going to be set. They can't do anything. Even better, if they don't True Nade and they go for it while you have the back row, after they synchro and everything, you can flip Threatening Roar. When they go to attack and they have no response, they're stuck with all their high level monsters on the field, assuming they don't have Pot of Avarice, or assuming you don't kill them the next turn, they're not going to be able to come out of that one. So Threatening Roar is awesome. Only reason I don't like it as much is because it is slightly readable. It's a set card, and so for that reason you might want to think about using Battle Fader. Battle Fader only works when your field is clear of no monsters. It is bad because they can Mind Crush it out of your hand, but assuming they don't have the setup for that properly, Battle Fader will most likely get you there 80% of the time. It's going to end their battle phase after they do all their synchro and they think they're okay, they think they have game. You drop Fader. It's pretty much like, it's so hard. As a Fish player, I know this. It's really hard to come back from a failed FTK, OTK. If you fail, especially when that failure is caused by Battle Fader, there's not much you can do. And so, Battle Fader, Threatening Roar, these are your deterrents. They will stop you from losing the game. They will stop the Fish player from winning. Deter them with Threatening Roar, Battle Fader, doesn't matter. These cards are awesome. Moving into the dysfunction. Fish has an engine that revolves around syncing into formula with Fishborg and Treeborn. Great way to stop that is Goes and Match. Goes and Match means that they can't go into Armory Arm, they can't go into Fishborg. If you're like me and you run Darks, I can't go into Caius by sacking Treeborn. This card hurts me, it hurts almost all Fish players so hard. Aside from a Mobius main deck / side deck or an MST, they're not going to have an answer to this Goes and Match. If you protect it properly, you're going to win the duel via Goes and Match. Also, Mask of Restrict. Very commonly cited card. A lot of people think this is an awesome solution for Fish. It is to an extent. It does stop enemy controller, but it doesn't stop formula. And so I can draw all that I want to do. I can average it back in, draw some more until I find it out. Mask of Restrict is a great dysfunction, stops my engine, but ultimately I prefer Goes and Match over it. However, there is a third and fourth alternative, and those cards would be Vanity's Fiend or Fossil Dyna. I'm representing it here with Vanity's Fiend, but cards that stop special summoning. Particularly this monster, a high level Vanity's Fiend or even a Fossil Dyna. If you drop this against me, I have no outs. Many of you guys know I am no longer maining Dark Hole. Many Fish players don't main the card. A lot of them side it. I'm still siding it because of this card. Generally, I will have no out for this. If you have a Fossil Dyna, the most I can do is set a Rodentonin, hope you can't get over it, and sack it for a Caius or something next turn. If you have this thing can attack over Rodentonin, other than Penguin Soldier, which I'm now maining / Snowman Eater. There's really no out for this card. And if you're smart and if you don't attack into it, if you have outs for their face downs, this card or Fossil Dyna will get you there. You summon this, you say go, there's nothing they can do. A way I like to get around as a Fish player is if my opponent makes the mistake of summoning a second face-up monster, I will normal summon like an Oystermeister, tribute it with enemy controller to take control of the Fossil Dyna, and then tribute the Fossil Dyna, getting it off the field with another enemy controller to take their face up. A good way to stop that from happening, it's one of the few counters that Fish players have, a good way to stop that is not summoning anything else. You keep one Fossil Dyna, one Vanity's Fiend on your field, you're going to win. They can't enemy control around it, they have no plays. Watch out though, because Vanity's Fiend and Fossil both have semi-low defense, so awesome plays such as summoning Oystermeister and econing it to defense mode, attacking over it. That's a great way around it as well for Fish players, but ultimately if you protect this card, if you protect Fossil Dyna, you're going to win the duel. So again, going back, we have Vanity's Fiend, we have Mask Restrict, and we have Goes and Match. These are the dysfunction. They cause dysfunctions to your opponent's Fish engine, they can't do anything. You protect these cards well, you're going to win the duel. Moving into the last section of the Ds, which is Destruction. We start out with interesting card, sort of a risk versus reward card, Cyber Dragon. And at first this card may turn many players off because, as you can see, 21 attack, it's a colossal OTK target. If you know anything about playing against Fish, you don't want to summon anything over 1800 attack, really 800 attack. If you summon anything over 800 attack, 2 armor arms can be equipped into colossal. If you summon anything over 1800, that makes it so much easier. It requires 1 armory arm. But you summon Cyber Dragon, they have a face-up formula, which they usually do, in light of them drawing the card, they'll have a formula. You go with that, you go into Chimera Tech, it clears their field, you go for a direct attack, or you play defensively, you put the Chimera Tech in defense mode. It negs them 1, it gives you a solid defense. Please be aware of Colossal. This card is mainly sided because I find that when going against Fish, the best way to beat them is to beat them to the OTK. Oftentimes they'll start out really bad. The chance of them having Gores / Fader, you know, it's there, but the chance of them having Gores / Fader on top of having their OTK next turn isn't as high. So you want to push them before they push you. You go Cyber Dragon, you go another monster, you go Sync, you clear their field, you attack directly, you push as hard as you can, set a bunch of back rows. This card is great for destruction, and so if you want to win the duel quickly, use it. Just please bear in mind that it's colossal target, so if something goes wrong, you really don't want to be sitting with a 2100 monster on your field. It's not the greatest side card, but when you have no room in your extra deck for anything else, this card is actually very good. So Cyber Dragon causes destruction. A very commonly sided card, DD Crow. You will want to use this card over Change Disappearance. A lot of people think Change Disappearance is awesome because it hits everything in their deck. It's not. DD Crow is so much better. Change Disappearance is readable. If I summon my Treeborn, knowing you have a few set face downs that you've already sided, I'm going to shoot in one of those cards to Change Disappearance. I'm going to have an enemy controller in my hand ready to tribute the Treeborn, put it back in the graveyard. Change Disappearance is going to fizzle. DD Crow is a good way to get around that. You can just crow it when it's in the grave. There's really no way to save it except for Burial, which there's one copy of, and a lot of Fish players don't even side it as it is. So you can hit anything you want with this. Some Fish players like going aggro. They'll Foolish their Coelacanth, try to Reborn it. You crow that. There goes that option. You crow their Fishborg after they discard one. They neg one. It ruins their play for that turn. Crowing Treeborn. It's not always the best option, you know. A lot of people they always focus on Treeborn. Oh, I gotta stop the Treeborn. But when you think about it, it's not the most important thing to stop. Point is that Crow can stop anything you want. It's much better than Change Disappearance. Crevice is good too, but it's readable as a face down again. So DD Crow, in my opinion, is the best monster removal card that you can side against Fish. So this card goes in the destruction, along with Cyber Dragon. The two of them will get there. More destruction. Interesting card. I was looking through. I had this used against me. Dark Bribe. It sort of goes hand in hand with the concept of Threatening Roar. When they True Nade, you flip Roar, it's game. You know, this format, there's no Cold Wave. So Fish have one card. They have one copy of Giant True Nade and no way to get it back. If you have 4 face downs, like if you have like a Warning, a Deprison, and discard set, Dark Bribe, and they go for True Nade and you Dark Bribe it, it's game. Like there's really no way they can get around it. They're gonna have to blind them as to your Warning. Try to find some way around it. That's why I run Caius in my deck, to be honest, to try to get past some face downs and make some pushes. I like it better than Lad, but that's really my only out post Dark Bribe. This card screws me up so hard. I'm aware it doesn't go in every deck, but if you're running Infernities, if you're running Samurais, Counter Fairies, you'll probably already be a main of this card. But if you have room for this card in your side deck / main deck, please have it in there. It stops Fish, it stops True Nade, which stops everything. Awesome card. And lastly, the coolest card I think you can possibly side against Fish is Mind Crush. This card is awesome. You have to make really pro reads with it though, and when you do, it's disastrous. For example, I Gold Sark into True Nade, you wait a few turns, I get my True Nade, I'm like, alright, I'm set. Activate True Nade, you'll flip your Mind Crush, you'll call Deep Sea Coelacanth. That's game right there. If you want to make even cooler reads, if you see them feeding cards in their graveyard and looking through it a lot, they're a bad player, that is, and they're giving you the reads. You can try to Mind Crush Pot of Avarice. I don't really advise it, but most of the time, post True Nade, chain Mind Crush, call Deep Sea Coelacanth, it's game. Also, another alternative is to just, you know, they Gold Strike the True Nade the second they get it, Mind Crush the True Nade. There's that. They don't have game for that either. So both of those plays are perfectly viable. Mind Crush is awesome. Just sheer, hands down, amazingness. It goes into destruction. So again, there are 4 cards that cause destruction. Then there's Mind Crush, there's DD Crow, there's Cyber Dragon, and then there's Dark Bribe. So, again, just think, deterrent, dysfunction, and destruction. If you account for all those things and if you factor them all into your deck, you will do an awesome job. If you have a good side deck, if you just keep in mind of deterrent, dysfunction, and destruction, and you have cards set for both, if you have the Gozen Match for the dysfunction, if you have the Battle Fader for the deterrent, and if you have the Mind Crush for the destruction, you're going to beat Fish. It's not a very hard deck to side against. Most of these cards are universal. Just keep that in mind, and you will do perfectly fine. Until next time, Tahan out.